Yeah, I'm not lying down on that. I'm in the elements again. Bear with me. Bear with me. Yeah, bear with me today. I'm on the elements again. It's the first snowy day in New York, so I wanted to get this video out and I wanted to make it look snowy. I mean, it's a great time. It's a great time to be in New York and be a snow. You see kids being dragged. Let me get this video here. These kids being dragged. Drag them. Little fun moments everywhere. It's really great to be in the winter in this town because you think it's going to keep everybody in, but it actually, when it snows, it brings a lot of people out. Anyways, enough about that. What are we talking about today? Today we are talking about episode 2 of trying to make a feature film. So in the last episode we talked about music videos and how, that was a path that I took. And a lot of what I did early on was learn by doing. So I would say yes to a lot of projects, learn what I needed to do before I showed up, and then I'd do it. And those things are something I had to do here as well. But without an idea, no one's really going to come to you to make a movie. So I had to go looking for an idea. I already had several ideas, but it wasn't until my wife was like, you need to make something that you can actually make, that I start going into the process of it. And I want to talk to you about the process that I went down. But I also want to say this video is sponsored by me. It's just me, Aaron, your old buddy, your old pal. And, feel free to like and subscribe, to share. With all these music videos and all these fashion videos, there's no dialogue. There was no dialogue. I never had to sort of direct actors. I never had to sort of write backstories. I never had to do any witty jokes or puns or stuff like that. So the first thing I needed to do was learn how to write. So what I did is I took a writing class during COVID. You can obviously find free examples to do this, maybe programs on YouTube or something like that, but I took Gotham Writers. I liked knowing that I had to come to the group with something I wrote and ask somebody to read it and ask for feedback. And, that kind of really kept me honest about how I felt I was writing. Was this good? Was this going to be an embarrassment? Was this going to say something about me? So once the first class finished, I realized that I didn't have a good idea of how to write good dialogue. So I took a playwriting class with the same company because plays are basically all dialogue. I didn't want to tell a story that was just going to have 100 different locations, 100 different quips, nothing connects to anything. I wanted to attack my weakness, which was dialogue. So I took a playwriting class and I wrote a whole play, 2 acts, lots of words, lots of stories, but really only 2 locations. And I did that because I knew when I was writing this feature film, I can't afford to go to 100 different locations. I needed to go to 6. And can the story revolve around these 6 locations? Now, I hadn't written this story at this point, but I had to learn about how to end my story. I watched this video by Patrick H. Willems, and I thought that was a great example of, or at least a great video as to how you can end a story and what you're looking for to end a story. And that's what I always come back to, is that the lessons he taught in that video, stakes, external, internal, and philosophical. Things need to matter at the apex of the film. And so you have to make things matter. And then I watched this video by Lessons from the Screenplay about what happens to your characters when the same thing happens at different parts of the film. So I didn't know if I wanted something crazy to happen in the apex or at the very middle of the video. I'm sorry, I'm really nervous now because people are walking by. You hear that? Everyone's out in the city. Okay, so I beef up my ability to write dialogue. I've learned how to end a story. Now it became, what kind of story did I want to tell? What kind of New York story do I want to tell? Well, that's a question that I really had to ask myself. What kind of stories did I want to tell? And this is something you're going to have to ask yourself. What kind of stories do you want to tell? Because you're going to be spending a lot of time with this idea, and it better resonate with you, and it better be something you're passionate about, because if it isn't, you're not going to be able to keep going when it gets tough, and it gets tough. And so I had to learn about myself when asking, what kind of stories do I want to tell? What kind of genre do I want to be? What kind of storyteller am I? What are my favorite films? What do I like about them? What stories that aren't about an experience I have resonate with me even without my experience? So I'd watch films like Francis Ha. I'd watch films like Finding Forrester. I'd watch films Goodfellas, Made in Manhattan, I ended up understanding that I like films about underdogs. I like films about friends. I like films with style. But I don't always like films that are actiony, blockbuster. I really love Tarantino's films, but I love them for the tension, for the dialogue, for the style, for the story. And he's really good at violence and gore. And so he cooks with those. So, but that's not me. So I'm not. That's not who I'm gonna be. But one of the things I also really care about a lot is lore. I love lore, especially in video games. I'll go like searching through all the like little bits, like little crevices of every video game, because I like to find little lore. I loved that, and I wanted my characters to have that. Even if it wasn't in the film, I wanted it to be something that really felt like I had an understanding of where they came from. They didn't just exist at the beginning of the film. They had been existing way before that, and every person in their own way. There's another great Patrick H. Willems video about the real people of Spider-Man. And there's another one, I don't remember who, but it was like the Coen. Somebody did a video about the Coen brothers characters, and I just felt really connected with that. With especially in New York, everybody has their own thing going on at all times. Like I'm here making this YouTube video. There's these people just walking their dogs. There's kids running around. Like everybody's got their own story, and it was so exciting to me to write all of these characters and then go before they showed up on screen. What were their parents like? Where did they grow up? What did they want to be? Like, is she this person? Is she that person? What's going to happen after this film? Like all those things really matter to me. So, but I had to learn that about myself. Figure out a way to like understand your characters. That really would help my motivations once I started writing the story. And one of the most encouraging things was when I was researching Frances Ha. Greta had this really great podcast where she just said that, I think it was off camera, where she said that she just was writing things that happened in her life, and that she gave it to somebody, or somebody saw it and was like, yeah, you can make a movie out of this. And that was honestly pretty helpful, because I thought you needed to do this or you needed to do that, and you need to have an outline and a first act, second act, third act. And in reality you do, but it can be of moments that you can then retrofit to be something you love and a story that makes sense. So I wrote scenes I wanted to see, and then I began to build the characters around that. I wanted to write two best friends. I knew that. All of this is prep. For the outline. And I haven't even gotten to the outline yet. But this is a lot of the work I had to do, and I really enjoyed doing it for a couple of weeks. I really enjoyed just being in this world that I got to create. Hang on, let me just wipe this screen here. All right, I hope I didn't mess that up. I never wanted to make a character good or bad. I just kind of wanted to make the character real. And nobody's really all good or all bad in the real world. Even bullies have moments of weakness and moments of insecurity. Even smart kids can be snooty about someone not having intelligence. There's a lot of things that throw things back onto a balance, and I wanted to write every character that way, to where even my villains, my quote-unquote villains, even my villains would be people that you could empathize with, and you can see where they're coming from, and you can kind of sort of root for them a little bit. You like them. That's all prep for the outline. Once I started writing my outline down, I felt very comfortable about how it was going to look, how it was going to sound, how the characters were going to interact, how many jokes there would be, and what kind of story it was going to be. Who did I want it to resonate with? Who did I want to reach out with this story? So I'll leave it at that right now, because that was enough to get me to finish the outline. And we'll come back to episode 3 soon. Not sure when. These things take a little bit of time. But if you are enjoying it, let me know. And also, I'm going to be doing another video about one of the greatest, if not the greatest, show don't tell films of all time. So if you want to keep watching, keep following along, please follow along. My hands are getting very cold now. But I also want to say, if you are a up-and-coming filmmaker like me, let me know how your process goes. If you want to share stuff with me, that'd be cool too. I mean, I'm just a guy with a camera, and a mic right now. So I'm just trying to make this happen on my own. And that's the video, I think. That's the video. We'll see. Boop.